computer. Okay, I think we're good to go now. But yeah, I think that was chapter 11. You would have been doing any stock related transactions. This week we're in adjusting accounts for financial statements. And so if we go there, I do have a pretty full review of that in YouTube, on YouTube, I mean, in the playlist. Let me just make sure that we've got that too, content. Oops, wrong place. Let's see where we got it. Let's go here. Playlists. No, that's not the ones I want. So I have some hula playlists. Like to see some of the competitions. Let's see, dashboard, playlist. All right, what did it say? You can now create playlists here. I don't want to create a playlist. I want to see my playlist. Is this the right one? Oh, wrong channel. I got two channels. What do you get? What do you know? Okay, Brian Lewis. There we go. Content. Playlist. Week. We're in week 6. Okay, so in here I do have a full review of chapter 3. It goes through a lot of detail on sample problems, and I actually worked through some of the problems in that. You also have the short review, which just gives you a cursory view of it, and then guidance on the ethics exam or ethics assignment, which should be pretty helpful. Although this semester I actually developed a template and put it out there for you to review. And then there's some various other questions and things in here. But one thing to note also that, and I'm finding that some students don't quite catch this, because when I have one-on-one conversations with them, they're not realizing that let me go to, sorry. I am all over the place right now. Sorry. Let me slow down just a little bit. In my student view. Okay, student view. In the student view from McGraw-Hill, you can also get there from the modules as well. Like if we're in this adjusting accounts for financial statements, then down below you'll see these what appear to be graded assignments, but they're really just optional assignments. And there are videos on like doing adjusting entries for deferred expenses, right? If I go there, it says homework, but really it's a support video. You can begin it. And from here, you can do some quick reviews of the material on this, like deferring expenses. So it'll do a quick video, right? And this one looks like it's about, I don't know, 40 seconds long. And they'll ask you some questions, right? So place the steps in the 3-step adjusting process in the correct order. So I can, after reviewing the video, I can come here and I can, determine what the current balance should equal, what balance equals, record an entry. My guess is that's the third one. I'll just do this. What it should equal, what it does equal, and make record an adjusting entry, right? So I can submit that, and I'm just going to do this one. And so it'll tell me whether or not I got it right, right? Oh, I got those 2 wrong. I probably got those in the backwards order, right? It should be determine what the current account equals. In fact, it tells me here, step 1, determine what the current account balance equals. Step 2, determine what it should equal, and then record an adjusting entry based on those 2 pieces of information, right? So you can quickly go to each of these little videos, review them, do a knowledge check, and then once you do the knowledge check, you can actually figure out what the exact answer, what the correct answer is, right? On all of these. These are very helpful, I think, in terms of not only confirming your understanding, but then also in prepping for some of the quizzes or the exams that you take, because they're pretty short, right? This is a 2-minute one with a question. The next one was at 4 is another, well, this one's about 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes, and then knowledge check, right? But in this one, you actually do the adjusting entry, right? So these are pretty nice, quick ways of going through material and then checking your knowledge and getting, answers to that. Have you been able to use this, Dale?
Yeah, I've been doing all of those for all the assignments that I missed.
Oh yeah.
I went back and do all the thing, and even the extra ones that, like, after end of every week there is some extra. Yeah, I went back and do those things. So I think pretty much after this week I'll be sorted. I'll be able to just go through the whole thing.
Yeah, so that'll be a good resource for you, and thankfully you're utilizing that right now. We go to the cheat sheet for chapter 3, if I can find it. Comprehensive. There's the cheat sheet right there. Then this is a very concise version of all the material, right? How do you defer an expense? Really gives you the definition of it up front, and then shows you the journal entries that you would record depending on what your analysis tells you. But usually, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to, like in this one, it says prepaid insurance. You're going to go to an insurance expense, and you're going to, as a debit of some sort, and you're going to go to a prepaid insurance account as a credit, right? So, and this is if it expires. Supplies used up. So it kind of gives you some of the ones you'll be tested on, either through the quiz or through the exam at some point. Tells you what accumulated depreciation is and how you record that. Same with deferring revenues, what it is, how do you record unearned revenue, and then how do you actually reduce it or recognize the revenue associated with it when it comes when it actually is due. Accrued expenses, accrued revenue, and then some of the reporting and analysis impacts. So I find that these are pretty helpful to kind of give you, probably, especially during the quiz, right? You have your quiz open on one side and you have your cheat sheet open on the other side. You can pretty quickly go through the quiz and get, I would say, a pretty comfortable score on your quiz access. That then gets you right over to your quiz. Have you been able to utilize this at all?
Yes, I have been using it. I think I use the cheat sheet. It's really easy, and sometimes I have to go back and read. You know how some of the concepts is first time for me.
Yeah.
I find myself I have to go back and reread the chapter to understand, and I think I'm getting a lot better knowledge about them, and I think,
Right.
I was surprised sometimes I try the thing and just out of my head I could fix it, and I said, oh, that's good.
Yeah, there you go. That's very nice. Okay, so yeah, this will be very helpful throughout the quiz process, and then as a preparation for the exam that'll come up in a couple weeks. Other than that, I think any questions in general about the concepts around deferring or accruing expenses or revenues?
I think I'm not too sure. I don't really think I'll have some problem with it. The only other thing I came across when I saw the thing, what is that one about the treasury stock or something like that?
Oh, okay. So that'll take us back to chapter 11. So let me go back. I think it's in chapter 11. So let me go back there for you real quick. Oh, actually it's down. Sorry. Chapter 11. Let's see where we got treasury stock. Preferred treasury stock. There we go. Okay. So treasury stock is stock that the company owns of its own stock, right?
Yes.
So it's usually stock that has been issued in the past and then is bought back by the company. Yeah. And it's done for a couple different reasons. They say here, to use shares to acquire another corporation, right? They may swap the shares with another corporation to avoid a takeover of the company. So maybe a particular individual or individuals are starting to acquire more stock than they really want, and they don't want them to own a majority interest. And so they'll buy stock from others in order to dilute that those other shareholders. They might give them to employees as compensation, so they'll buy it and then give it back out.
Yeah.
Right? Or to maintain a strong market for their stock. So the less stock that's outstanding, the earnings per share increases. So they might pull it back out in order to boost the price up a little bit. And it's usually also because they have excess cash and they're trying to figure out what to do with the excess cash. So that's the reason why a company might buy back its shares.
Its own shares. Wow. Okay. It's I noticed that some of the students get it really wrong they always ask questions about it, and I remember the past courses that really have to look at it carefully.
Yeah.
I think it's with all the questions and everything, I go through it carefully, and I think the good thing with the accounting, it has everything that we need to understand on the screen.
Yeah.
It just the sad thing is that I was just get caught up and tired. That's why I couldn't do my work. But I think I'm grateful for my exam marks, so I just have to keep going.
Yeah, it's the exam portion is a little difficult. I've noticed over time that if you can get 100% quiz score on a regular basis, then your exam score is going to be somewhere around 90 to 95%, right? It's going to drop always between 5 and 7% from your quiz scores to your exam scores. And so the trick is to do enough preparation to make sure that you get good quiz scores, because that preparation will help you in the exam. Those that don't do very well in the difference between, let's see, how do I say this? Those that typically drop 5 to 7% from their quiz to exam scores are those that are usually the ones that are retaining the information pretty well. Those that aren't retaining it are usually dropping much more significantly. Let's say they have an 85% on their quiz scores, but they have a 70% on their exam score. That 15% drop either means that they need to prepare a little bit more for the exam, or they're just not retaining the information very well during that quiz process. And with the first exam being done, you can look back at that and say, okay, well, what do I need to do a little bit differently for the next exam in order to keep that slip from the quiz to the exam score a little bit more stronger, 5 to 7%.
I really find it hard. Sometimes I can't memorize the formulas. I can't remember them. So no ways to just, okay, it will come.
Yes, it will come. It is hard. Even for me, sometimes I'll look at the, price to equity ratio. Well, that one's pretty easy because usually some of them tell you what the denominator and the numerator are, price to equity. Okay, that's pretty easy. But some others, as you'll find out later on, like days sales outstanding for revenue or receivables, it's not always that easy because you don't, the definition is not contained in the name of the ratio.
Well, I think it's yeah, I think I just pretty much have to look at the informations and keep doing my work. And yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to come in and check and see. I think I'm not too far behind. I'm just getting there.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. All things considered, you're doing pretty good for now. You don't let the first 5 weeks or 6 weeks of the semester discourage you from doing well in the next 8 weeks, right? You got a lot more work to do, and you can do some good stuff in these next couple of weeks.
Yes, I'll do that.
Yeah, so that's the treasury stock. Did you have a different any other questions?
I no, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty much sorted. I just
Okay.
have to get on and keep doing my quiz and things so that I can get it. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me see if I remember. See if I can find some things that might be a trick on these. Really, when we're talking about accruing or deferring revenues or expenses, we're just trying to match things up with the current period. It's a difference between receiving cash and owning that cash, right? Or spending cash now for a benefit in the future, right? So that's really the difference between accruing and deferring things. Like if I receive cash that for work I'm gonna do tomorrow, well, I really shouldn't, I haven't earned that money until I actually do the work, right?
Yes, yes.
And so it's a liability. I owe somebody something for the cash they've given me, and that's why
Yeah.
it's called a liability, right? If I've paid something out that I'm going to get a benefit in the future, that's an asset. I still own that future benefit, right? So trying to get those expenses or those revenues in the right period of time is what this whole chapter walks you through.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of doing it, different principles associated with them, but they all follow the same types of thing. What do I own? What do I owe now? What kind of assets do I have now as compared to when I've either received or paid out some cash? Or in some cases, I haven't paid out cash yet, but I may in the future, right? I told somebody, no, let's see, another way of saying this. I bought something on credit. I haven't paid any cash for it, but how do I recognize the fact that I owe somebody something in the future, right? In most cases, that comes in the form of an invoice, right? Somebody will give you an invoice to pay in the future. And so you recognize that usually through an accounts payable process, but sometimes they don't give you invoices, but you still owe them something. So that's what this works through. Okay. But I think that's good. If you're all good, then
Yes, I
all
think
right.
it's good. I can just catch up with the rest of the stuff.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Oh,
Well, you have a
ask you
wonderful,
one thing. Can I
yeah,
ask you one thing?
yes.
Do you know how you set up the Zoom? And every time I click on the thing, I can, it comes on. Because we have on my other course, we have the maths course, and someone set up the link. And we've been trying all this week to get the link going. And unfortunately, with that course, you have the group work is a must every week of the semester.
Oh, yeah.
So last week I tried, it doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The
it's
link
still
doesn't work.
no one comes in or anything, but I think I was able to contact the tutor so he understand what my problem was. Then I finally got a full mark for last week group work. But
Yeah.
I now dread every week the group work because of that. And I thought Well, you set up the Zoom link and it's always going. Whereas whoever set up the first one, it doesn't, we have to use that link, but nobody seems to be able to log in. I wonder if,
Oh.
yeah. So I wonder if it is as the host, they need to let us in, or someone just set it up and forget about it, but we're stuck with it.
Yeah, sometimes, okay, so I'm like, if I'm creating a Zoom meeting right now, right? I have these options when and all that. But sometimes down here in these meeting options,
Yeah,
they may
yeah.
say like require a meeting passcode or allow participants to join. Right.
Yeah.
Right now I have, I have this selected. But sometimes people might enable a meeting room,
Oh,
or they might, which means a waiting room, so you have to wait until they let you in.
okay. They could
Right,
probably
but
just
the other
include.
option is if that individual were to put you or the rest of the team as alternative hosts,
Okay,
then when you start the meeting, the first person that starts the meeting
is the
will
host.
automatically be able to allow folks in.
Oh,
But usually, I'm not sure if you guys are using a personal meeting ID or if you're using a specific uh, ID for the Zoom meeting itself, but yeah, I don't.
mm.
I would have probably see the link or see the actual setup to see what's not working right for everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Do you mind if I look it up and give you the link?
Sure.
Because it's yeah, it's been a little bit of trouble for all of us. I
Yeah, let
don't.
me just go ahead and stop the recording on this, and that way,
Yeah, yeah.
let's see, stop.